Hello and welcome to Future Proof, where we speak to people that are trying to shake up personal finance and deliver a better tomorrow for everyone. Today I'm joined by Emmanuel Asuquo, a financial advisor by trade, but has become better known as a TV presenter on Channel 4's Save Well, Spend Better and BBC One's We Are England. He became a financial advisor with Barclays Bank at just 22 years of age. But since then, he's founded a platform aimed at empowering people to save better for the future called onestopsave.com. He's also written books including Get Your Money Right, which share his expertise with people looking to find a better financial future. Hello and welcome, Emmanuel. Lovely to have you here.
No, it's great to be here.
Let's start with the obvious question, if we may, Emmanuel. What was it that got you interested in money in the first place?
Oh, good question. I think what got me interested in money was probably the lack of money. I think growing up, always hearing no, you hear no so much that you stop asking. You don't ask for sweets when you go to the shop. You don't ask, can you go on that school trip? You don't ask for new trainers. You just get what you're given. And I think I realized early in life that money and having a different type of lifestyle. I could see other people enjoying money differently to what I had. And so I was very interested. And then also my father is an accountant. So that was also motivation there.
What do you see as the key obstacles preventing people from sorting out their finances?
I think the main obstacle is confidence. And confidence comes from knowledge. And when you feel like you know something, when you have been taught something, you can be confident to apply it. And I think what I find is that a lot of people are not confident when it comes to money because they've never been taught money or they've only learned about money from making mistakes. And if you only learn money from a position of making mistakes, you're going to try to avoid making mistakes and then you're going to avoid trying to interact with money as much as you can. And really, money is a tool to make more money and actually make your life better. So people should actually be seeking knowledge and seeking money and be want to be money confident. But I meet a lot of adults who are almost embarrassed by money and the mistakes they've made in the past, and so hide from it.
And what are the main things that people should do to take or regain control over their finances?
I think a big thing is money mindset, actually knowing your why. Like, why do you wake up in the morning? What do you want to achieve in life? What are the things that are important to you? What would you still go out and do on a rainy day when you're demotivated? What would still get you up to go to work or work in your business? What's your why is really important. Then it's important to have goals. What goals have you actually set for yourself? What are you trying to achieve? I think a lot of the time people are going on social media and looking at other people's achievements and then making other people's goals their goals. So they go online and they see a friend buy a new car, now they want a new car. Or see a friend go on a nice holiday, now they want to go on the same holiday. Or see a friend buy a house and now they want to buy a house. But actually, if you're always chasing other people's dreams, you're probably never going to achieve any. And it's really important to know what is the goals that you set for yourself. What are the things that you're working towards? And then it's really important to then have a budget, like plan your money. Where is it coming into? Where is it going out from? Who are you paying? And I always tell people this should be an annual thing. This is not a once in a lifetime thing. This should be annually. You should look at your incoming, your outgoing, where your money goes. You work really hard to make your money, but how often do you spend time looking at where your money's going and is it going to the right places?
You focus a lot on empowerment, but doesn't that require them to educate themselves about finance and take a degree of personal responsibility first?
That is fair, but I think one thing we have to say, number one, is it's called personal finance. It has to be personal to you. We're all on our own personal journey. So I feel like there is a responsibility, number one. Number two, we are making financial decisions every single day, whether that be, do I take an Uber, do I take a bus? Do I shop in Sainsbury's or do I shop in Lidl? Um, you know, in regards to what car do I buy? All of these things, we make financial decisions every single day. So because of that, it's important that we understand that the best place we're going to make those decisions from is from a place where we've been empowered and have the knowledge. So we should be seeking out knowledge, just like I tell when you're young, they teach you how to tie your tie, to come to school and how to dress, and we have cooking lessons. These are life skills. Money is a life skill that we should all have because we're all gonna have to make financial decisions once we become adults and we're no longer under our parents' rule. We will have to make decisions. So once you start making money, you have to make decisions on what you're going to do with it. That's why the education piece is so important. And that's why we all have a personal responsibility to learn money and empower ourselves.
And with regard to pensions and other long term savings, I've recently been speaking to someone who said that they felt it wasn't so much financial literacy that was the problem as retirement literacy. We're all very capable of saving for short term bursts, but that long term vision is very hard to keep within one's mind's eye. So, what do you think of that? But also, how do you advise people to take control of saving for those long term futures?
Yeah, I think both are a problem. I don't think one is more of a problem than others because some would say, well, as long if I work in the right company and I contribute to the pension scheme and the company are very generous in how much they contribute, my retirement will be sorted. So you don't necessarily have to have literacy. You just need to join the scheme that you're already in if you're in a privileged position. So I wouldn't necessarily say retirement literacy on its own is something that people are lacking. I would say that would come under financial literacy. Do I understand when I do talks with young people? Do they understand the importance of a pension? If I don't understand the importance of a pension and my sole focus is the here and now, I'm going to opt out of that pension.
Mm-hmm.
But if no one's ever educated me on the importance of the pension and what that means and how that can help my future, and actually the younger I start, the better it's going to be for me. If I've never had that education, why would I believe in a pension? And so it's so important that we understand that it is a case of actually equipping people with the knowledge to make better financial decisions. And that comes in all areas, whether that be retirement, whether that be personal finance, whether that be property, getting on the property ladder. A lot of people have these desires to own property, but do you understand how it works? Whether that be starting a business, which has become much more important when we look at the cost of living crisis and people need an additional income. So there is an education piece that is missing for people to be able to make better decisions, and that is both personal finance and retirement finance.
And the million dollar question is when should they start? You've written a book for children called The Ultimate Guide to Money. Is there anything different about the way you present these ideas to children than you would to adults on onestopsave.com, for instance?
Yes, definitely. When it comes to kids, for me, it's about their imagination. When you're young, the world hasn't quite yet, taken all your dreams out of you yet. You haven't become realistic. When you get older, it's always about being realistic. With my book, Ultimate Guide to Money, what we're able to do is empower children to look into the future and say, what can they do? What value can they create? And actually, throughout the book, what we do is we play a game with them where, they start off with £1, and at the end of each chapter, depending on the decisions that they decide to make, they have to make a decision. And if they make the right decision by the end of the book, that £1 will turn into £1 million. Imagine being 8, 9, 10, 11 years old and feeling like, actually, I know how to turn £1 into £1 million. Now, I guess, it's a bit more fantasy. There are some things that, kids won't have access to, like stocks and so forth, until you're 18. But the premise is that getting them having that idea, getting taking away, oh, this scary word called business, and just calling it going out and helping people is really empowering them to say, well, I know what I can do to help someone. And if I can help someone, I can make some money. And when I make that money, rather than just use all of that money to buy sweets, I'm going to plan how I'm going to use that money. Some will be for now and some will be for the future. And these are key principles that kids can learn so that as they become adults, they can carry that forward.
Unfortunately, financial literacy is not part of the national curriculum. But what skills and knowledge do you think would give children the greatest advantage for taking control of their finances if they were taught it at school?
Yeah, I think some of the big skills is to understand that money is a tool. I think it's really important, one, to understand that money is a tool to make more money and not just something used to buy stuff in the immediate. that they have other options than spending all the money they get right now. I think that's something that a lot of people don't learn until they're adults. Also, principles in regards to paying their future self. When you are young and we start to build our money mindset from like age 7. So if you think about it, if you're young and you go out and you get a nice auntie or uncle that gives you £10 or £20, and your mindset is, okay, I've got this, I'm going to spend it. You grow up with a mindset that whenever I get money, it's to be spent, and so that carries on, and then obviously that can lead to problems as you get older. So it's really important for the kids to understand that they don't have to spend all of the money they get right now. I think also, understanding their needs versus their wants is really important. You may need a car, but that car doesn't have to be a Mercedes. You may need food, but that food doesn't necessarily have to come from Fortnum and Mason. It's really important that we teach kids the difference between needs and wants, and also how to create value, how to start a business, how to add value to society, because a society where young people add value is a better place for us all. And obviously, if they're adding value and they can create income and create money, then they're not so dependent on parents or the state. So then we create independent individuals who are able to add to society, but also able to sustain themselves. So these are some key important things that kids should be learning in school. One of the big problems I found when I've gone into schools is that although there is a book that was made for teachers to deliver these financial lessons, a lot of teachers don't feel comfortable or equipped to deliver the lesson because they are struggling with money themselves. And it's hard to teach something that you struggle with, because the second you're nervous, that the second a child asks you a question, you're not going to have the answer. So it's really important to have people who are equipped and have the knowledge and are confident enough to talk on this subject to young people.
Now, those that have made provision for their futures still face a conundrum at the point of retirement. It's a very difficult choice between how you should prepare and provide for that time when you're no longer working. It requires advice, but as we know, the people that need it most either don't take it or can't afford it. So, you've got a background as a financial advisor. How would you like to see the industry, or even society as a whole, address this growing advice gap?
I think we've seen the government try and help in regards to, allowing people to get money from their pension pots to pay for advice. I think that needs to be looked at because, again, a lot of advisors will have a certain amount that they want to be paid for their time, and so we need to really look at what can we really offer to people to give them help, support, and guidance, especially when they've saved for years and years and years working to have this pot. For some people, other than that, if they are privileged enough to own a property, this is probably their biggest asset. Their pension pot will be their biggest asset. So it's really important that we give them the help and support. I think we have to look at ways to offer this advice, offer this support, try and make it as simple as possible. I think there's a call on workplaces as well. If actually if you are employed and you work and you have a pension and you come to retirement, there should be some sort of support through the workplace to provide you with support on the decisions you're making, and that should be an employee benefit. It's just as it is really, really important. It's something that's really, really needed. I've worked all these years to build this money up. I need somewhere trusted to get this advice from. And I think the workplace is somewhere that people trust, and companies can, hire in financial advisors or financial experts to come in and give talks to the staff members that are retiring to let them know what their options are.
Now, finally, if you were lucky enough to stumble across that magic lamp and the genie gave you three wishes, how would you use them to transform the personal finance and long term savings landscape within the UK?
The number one thing I really want to do is make financial advice available to the mass market. And it seems very difficult and very hard, but I believe with technology, it's something we can do. We're able to have, for example, Uber, which is like having your own personal driver, and Uber Eats is like having your own personal chef. I would love to use technology so that people can get access to financial advice at a cost price for the mass market, at a cost price that makes sense to them. That will be my first wish, because too many people are making mistakes, which is costing them, not only them, but also their children and children's children to come. So that would be my first wish. Um, I think secondly would be again, financial education being a lesson in school, just like you learn maths, English, science. I think you should learn financial education and get a qualification in it, in financial education, and that should span, up through the years, and it should be something that everybody should learn and get a qualification in, because I think everyone would make better decisions if they did that. Number three would be, I think it'd be great to have more support for people to get started investing. So I know they used to have the child trust fund where they gave an amount for kids, but I think it'd be really great for, to be able to, for the government to be able to support people to get started investing, especially people from underprivileged backgrounds to get started. And yeah, that would be great, because then they could then build on from there.
Well, that just leads me to thank you very much, Emmanuel, for your time today.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Best of luck for your advocacy in the future. You're doing a great job. Keep it up. Links to Emmanuel's book and website below. Thank you for watching. If you've got any topics you'd like to see covered or people you'd like to see interviewed, stick that in the comment box below. Or even if you just want to let off steam, let your fingers do the talking. Hope to see you soon on another edition of Future Proof. Goodbye.